Season began in earnest in mid-February in Goodyear, Arizona. Fans eagerly awaited the 120th opening day for this charter member of the American League. By mid-March, the baseball season was put on hold as a global pandemic threw the world a curveball the likes of which none of us has ever seen. Ballparks across the country sat empty as fans and players took shelter, waiting and hoping for a miracle that never came. The coronavirus has infected millions of Americans and taken the lives of more than 100,000. While we waited for the illness to subside, another virus swept across our land, one that has been present for more than 400 years: racism. A social uprising followed. Protests and marches here in our own city have forced us, perhaps once and for all, to confront our differences and try to find a peaceful resolution. For the past 3 weeks, Major League Baseball has readied for a 60-game sprint to the finish season. Tonight, our ballpark in Cleveland welcomes back the boys of summer, but that is the extent of normal for this year. There will be no cheers or boos, no vendors hawking beers and hot dogs, no high fives, no bro hugs, no fighting or nose-to-nose arguing with umpires. Tito's ritual of devouring bubblegum will be replaced by wearing a mask in the dugout. Whatever we once thought of as normal was eviscerated back in March. Tonight, we simply play ball and hope that baseball can help us unite and heal. Presented by Taco Bell. It has been exactly 300 days since the Cleveland Indians last played a game that counted. Tonight, they open up this pandemic-shortened 60-game season with the first of 3 against the Kansas City Royals here at Progressive Field. Hi again, everyone. I'm Matt Underwood, and I can't begin to tell you how excited all of us here at Sportstime Ohio are to be back bringing you Cleveland Indians baseball. Yes, we've got problems here at home from sea to shining sea, but perhaps for the next 3 hours or so, we can just sit back and enjoy a ball game together. You know, there's been a lot of debate about what it will take to make it into baseball's newly expanded postseason format, but here in Cleveland, there is no question the Indians' fortunes will rise and fall with their pitching staff. I'm happy to be joined in the booth once again this year by my Gold Glove center fielder, Rick Manning. And Arch, the Indians are going to hand the ball to Shane Bieber tonight. Last year, the All-Star Game MVP, and he makes his first ever opening day start. I have a couple of questions for you. How does he attack this Kansas City Royals lineup, and what effect, if any, will it be for him pitching in front of what amounts to 30-some-odd thousand empty seats?
Well, I don't think that's going to bother Shane Bieber. He is a motivated person. He knows what it's going to take to go up against the Kansas City Royals. He's pitched against them 5 times. He's 3-0 in his career. This man is above his years. He goes out there. He's just something very special. He's around the plate all the time. He attacks hitters. He does not like to walk anybody. Very aggressive. When you look at his numbers, he was 15-8 last year, second in the league in ERA. He was third in strikeouts, 259. You got to go back at age 24. He's the last guy since Sam McDowell to have 325 at the age of 22, but that was back in 1965. So Shane Bieber, what a special year, an MVP in the All-Star Game in his home park. It doesn't get any better than that.
Well, we're excited. We can't wait. The first pitch is coming up next. Plus, we'll check in with our guy, Andre Knott. Cleveland Indians baseball, they take on the Kansas City Royals next. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by Taco Bell. Baseball is back. Brought to you by Taco Bell and by Spectrum Mobile. Spectrum Mobile has unlimited talk, text, and data. Save up to 40%. Go to SpectrumMobile.com today. 120th opening day as a member of the American League, exactly 120 days after they were supposed to start the season back near the end of March. Tonight they will open against the Kansas City Royals, and it will be a beautiful night for baseball. Hot, humid, lots of sunshine, and we are thrilled. And we're really excited to have our guy Andre Knott back with us. He joins us now from the left field home run porch. You better put a hard hat on the way the balls are flying out here during those inter-squad games.
You ain't lying. Tell you what, this has got to be the hottest opening day of all time, right, Arch? You never had a day like this. Never. So we're going to enjoy it. And you're right, the ball has flown out of the ballpark over the last few weeks that we've watched inter-squad games. And in 2020, so much change has happened and so much change is underway, and we have another one with baseball. Just Monday night, I was talking with the fellas about the playoffs and how they didn't change it. Well, just 24 hours before this game starts, they changed the playoff format for Major League Baseball. There will now be 16 teams that make the playoffs. That means first place and second place in the American League Central have a chance to go right into the playoffs. It's something, when talking to the Indians players, it excites them. When I told this to Francisco Lindor last night, he smiled and he says, well, it looks like March Madness just got a little bit more madness handed to it. But when I talked to Terry Francona, he says he can't worry about that or think about that. He is going to manage the way he's always managed and hope at the end of this, we'll have the Indians in the World Series, boys.
All right, thanks a lot, Andre. Yeah, I mean, that change kind of came out of left field, if you'll excuse the pun. Nobody, I don't think, saw that coming, and all of a sudden you wake up and hey, we've got double the teams, really chance to get in the playoffs and go get them.
Something they were negotiating and talking about before, they ended up figuring this out, that they were going to play, but they continued to negotiate. They got it solved right in time, and they had to do it before last night's first pitch at 7 o'clock, which they did. All right, time now to take a look at tonight's starting pitcher. It'll be Shane Bieber. He will be our Nissan starting pitcher, and Bieber coming off a very fine year at 15-8 in 33 starts, a 328 earned run average. He is 3-0 in his career against Kansas City in 5 starts. Last year, he started 3 games. He went 1-0, so he has pitched well against the Royals, but this is a lineup that can always give you fits.
And let's take a look at that Kansas City starting 9 under first-year manager in Kansas City, Mike Matheny. Whit Merrifield leads it off, and he is trouble with a capital T. He has led the American League in hits in each of the last 2 seasons. Adalberto Mondesi in the 2-hole. Jorge Soler, the DH. Salvador Perez back healthy. He's behind the plate hitting cleanup. Alex Gordon back for another season in Kansas City, batting 5th. Ryan McBroom, newcomer, is at first base, batting 6th. Michael Franco over from Philadelphia will bat 7th. Nicky Lopez 8th. And Bubba Starling will bat 9th.
Take a look at that Indians defense. The right-handers are out there tonight with the lefty on the mound. It'll be Luplow, Mercado, and Santana in the outfield. On the infield, you're going to see these guys every single day. Ramirez and Lindor on the left side. Hernandez, Santana on the right side, with Roberto Perez doing the catching.
And the umpires tonight, Dan Isanya will be behind the plate calling the balls and strikes. That is Andy Fletcher right there at first base. Trip Gibson is at second. Ben May down at third. With that, we are finally ready to go. A day that many of us wondered and hoped would get here, but at times in our darkest hours probably didn't think we would see today.
120 days.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Shane Bieber winds it up. And we're underway as Whit Merrifield fouls it off down the right side.
Boy, you almost could have bet that Merrifield was going to swing at that first pitch, probably knowing that Bieber was going to start him off with a fastball. He didn't waste any time, and you can't blame him. Shane Bieber always around the plate.
Strike throwing machine indeed. Just missed outside with a heater. 1-1 the count. 79 degrees our game time temperature. Took a little something off. It's popped foul, and that will find the seats as Santana gave it a look, but nothing doing. Whit Merrifield, without a doubt, the best hitter in Kansas City and one of the best hitters in the American League, if not all of Major League Baseball.
Well, I mean, look at that stat right there. Back-to-back, he led the league in hits, and only one other Royal has done that, and that's the great George Brett.
There's a liner foul, and I read something earlier today that I thought was also interesting. The only other right-handed hitter to lead the American League in back-to-back years in hits, Kirby Puckett.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. It's tough for right-handers to lead it. You're right. Most of the left-handers get it, and it used to be that they could run a little bit, but now this guy, he is just a very good, pure hitter, and he loves the ball away to shoot it that way. He hits it where it's pitched. He's not afraid to, you slow it down and you make a mistake, he'll turn on the ball.
Jam shot back out of play. Jorge Soler getting ready to take his turn at bat. He's due up third. And that hit him, I think, on the elbow. And so Whit Merrifield is hit by a pitch, and the Royals have their leadoff man aboard. Trying to come inside.
Yeah, and you have to do that, but it's a breaking ball. So, yeah, it certainly is not intentional, and it gets him right on the elbow. Is he wearing any padding up there? Because, that you have to try and pitch him inside. He loves the ball away because he can serve it, and he did have a little protective padding on that arm.
Adalberto Mondesi. Most of the talk in Kansas City about Mondesi has nothing to do with his talent. That's obvious for all to see. It's simply a matter of keeping him on the field. Last year, hurt his shoulder, needed surgery after he dove for a ball, and it's just like we see with a lot of young players, Rick.
Yes.
Talent is not up for debate. It's just, can he stay healthy?
Well, you're so true. This guy has all the talent in the world. He's got a great arm, a cannon from shortstop. He can run. He's a great base stealer. He's he can do it all. But you have to stay on the field to do it, especially in Kansas City where he is counted on so much. It's a nice 1-2 combination with the guy on deck that led the American League in home runs last year in their ballpark.
Wow, that bounced way out in front of the plate. Terrific job by Roberto Perez to block it, and that allowed him to keep Merrifield from advancing.
He's in midseason form behind the plate already. Watch this, way out in front, bounce that curveball a good 3 feet out in front of the plate, and Roberto smothers it like he so often does. Just to keep it in front and keep Merrifield on first base.
Three-man shift on the right side of the infield for Cleveland. Snap throw over, but back with a dive is Merrifield. He stole 20 last year, but was also caught 10 times.
Well, in the year before, he led the league in stolen bases, around 45. But he's getting up there. He's over 30 years old, and I'll tell you what, he plays every day. Stolen bases for him aren't that important. Although when you need one, he could go get it. You don't want him to get hurt sliding somehow, some way.
The 1-2 pitch. Jam shot. Santana will go to second to get the force. They try to turn two, but Mondesi really flies. And so that's a put out. It'll go 3-5, as that was Jose Ramirez over to cover the bag at second base. Take a look at our storylines. They're brought to you by Wayside Furniture. How sharp will the defense be? It should be, especially on the infield, exceptional. Maybe the best we've seen in years. And I think depending on the combination of outfielders, that's going to be maybe a sort of a revolving door based on who's on the mound and who Tito wants to get in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot he's going to have to juggle. Today, it's the right-handed hitting outfield in there.
And I didn't mean to exclude the guy behind the plate because he may be the best defender of them all. He was the Rawlings Gold Glove winner last year, and Wilson named him the Defensive Player of the Year. So Roberto Perez has become one of the elite defenders behind the plate in baseball.
Well, and that key too with the defense, you don't want to try and do too much. You know, give extra outs. Just make every play you have to.
There goes Mondesi, thrown out by Perez. And he's out at second base.
They may want to look at it. He feels he's safe. Do they want to look at it is the key. It looked like he might have been able to get that foot in, but he says, no, go ahead. They're not going to chant. Look at Roberto right out of the chute. And this guy,
boy, that was
too close to too close to call, but you don't want to, you know, he might have got the foot from that angle. It's hard to tell. But you're not going to lose that challenge in the first inning on a call like that.
The other night, though, I think the team was in Pittsburgh, or it might have been the game here. I can't even remember already. But Gerard Dyson stole second base, and Roberto just, you could see he was trying to get rid of it quickly. It was a ball in the dirt.
It was a backhander. That was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could see that time, even with the speed of Mondesi, Roberto Perez was not trying to rush it. He took his time, made a good throw. Jorge Soler draws a walk. So with 2 down, the inning continues for Salvador Perez. And boy, the Royals sorely missed his presence in the lineup and on the field. He's one of the, if not the, leader on this ball club for Kansas City.
Yeah, he's been their heart and soul since he's been there. And Tommy John surgery last year, they missed their leader, no question.
Soler smacks one up the middle, and that gets through. Excuse me, Perez smacks it through the middle, and Soler goes to second on the play.
Looked like a hanging breaking ball. And we all know Perez is a very aggressive hitter early in the count. He loves a fastball, but there's a breaking ball that stayed up, a slider from Bieber, and it was away, and he knew he left it upstairs, so he takes it right back up the middle. So the inning will continue. The Royals get their first hit. Perez having a little conversation with Lindor out behind second base.
Here's the veteran Alex Gordon, batted .266 a year ago. Look, the top part of this lineup for Kansas City, they've got some good hitters, some experienced guys, some power, some speed. The problem for Kansas City is the bottom part of their lineup a year ago, the bottom literally just fell out.
Well, they have some guys injured and you know, out that they would normally have in this lineup. That's why it's a little weaker right now as we speak.
Tried to hold up. Did he go around? They appeal, and he did not go, says Ben May. And so Bieber's in the hole here, 2-0.
Take a look from the side. No, he was not even close. Not even close. They're talking to Lindor about something. Gordon
standing behind second base.
He's right behind second base. I don't know what he just gave the umpire.
Sunglasses, was he wearing them on top of his hat and they were glaring?
Sunglasses. Remember I told you the other day that he's not a big sunglasses
wearer?
But
why would he need them now?
He just took them off. I don't think they were staying on the hat, Arch.
But it looked like Gordon told the umpire to go.
Could be the glare off of him for Gordon, possibly.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'll work on it. I'll see if I can make an umpire mad the first night.
Are you close enough to the field? We want you to go right out to the field.
It's not like they can't hear him.
Yeah,
right. I'm trying to whisper already, all right?
You can see the glare probably from the sun.
Did you see that? He asked him. There was probably something coming off of those glasses on the sun that he had on his brim. Camera got him, Andre. You're off the hook. Thank you.
2 on, 2 out. 2 ball, 1 strike count for Alex Gordon. Top of the first inning. Bieber trying to work through it. Swung out and missed to even the count. Boy, that was a nice tight slider.
Yes, it was. Nice. Not a lot of break to it, but he kept it inside, down and in. Well located. Look at that. That's a very tight one. It's acted almost like a cutter.
Yeah,
you know, his slider goes down, straight down. That almost acted like a cutter.
The inning began when Bieber hit Whit Merrifield with a pitch. Merrifield was put out on a fielder's choice. Then Adalberto Mondesi was thrown out trying to steal. But then a walk to Soler and a single by Perez to extend the inning with 2 down. Now the 2-2 count for Alex Gordon. Swung out and missed. He got him to chase a breaking ball in the dirt. And the inning is over. So Bieber gets his first strikeout. The Royals strand a pair, and the Indians are coming to bat. And John Adams, of course, is here. Is that the real drum or is that a cutout drum?
We'll hear it shortly. Well, let's take a look at Danny Duffy. Danny tonight is the Hyundai starting pitcher for Kansas City. This will be his 3rd opening day start. His record last year, 7-6, a .434. He finally got a win against the Indians last year that stopped a streak of 10 straight losses. So the Indians have had his number overall in his career.
Indian starting lineup brought to you by Progressive. Cesar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, Carlos Santana. First time in franchise history, the top 4 hitters are all switch hitters. Then Franmil Reyes, Jordan Luplow, Domingo Santana, Roberto Perez, and Oscar Mercado. So 9 right-handers in there batting against the lefty Danny Duffy. Takes the ball outside, does Cesar Hernandez. Batted .279 last year with Philadelphia, signed as a free agent with the Indians in the offseason. Even with the bag at third is Michael Franco. And Hernandez fouls it back to even the count. A few years ago, Hernandez led the National League with 34 infield hits, including 15 bunt singles.
Yeah, he's a very good bunter. And that's always nice for a guy that, you know, maybe you're not swinging the bat well and you're a leadoff hitter to a way to get on base. But he's got a very good eye. He puts the ball in play. We witnessed it the other day. Would he have a 12-pitch at bat leading off the game and ended up with a base hit?
And look at that. Talk about durable. Check, but he foul tipped it into the mitt of Salvador Perez. You know, Rick, you don't look at him as a power guy, but for a middle infielder who's not very big, he did clobber 14 home runs last year, drove in 71.
Yeah, his job, though, is to get on base and score runs, much like Lindor did last year.
Lifted into right field. Whit Merrifield is there. 1 down.
Let's check out that Royals defense behind Duffy this evening. It looks like this. In the outfield will be Gordon in left. Starling is in center. Merrifield over at right. On the infield, Franco at third. Mondesi at short. Lopez is at second. Nick Broom is at first. And Perez behind the plate. But the Perez tandem behind the plate tonight. One for each team.
There is Mike Matheny taking over in Kansas City for Ned Yost. He is one of 10 new managers in the majors this year. And for Matheny, of course, he took over for Ned Yost, who retired. Ned Yost, of course, did a tremendous job getting the Royals to the World Series and winning it. Matheny's departure from St. Louis, much like Terry Francona's final days in Boston, he didn't go out with fanfare. They rode him out of town on a rail.
Right. With the all right-handed lineup, the big pitch for Duffy, that's a curveball there. But is that cutter that he's going to run inside to the right-handed hitters. He won't have a lefty in there, so he doesn't have to dabble with that curveball a whole lot, just to take him off the cutter, and he will throw that changeup down and away and mix in his pretty good mid-90s fastball. Changer.
Left field, deep. Gordon back looking up. It is off the top of the wall. Ramirez steamrolling his way into second base with a 1-out double.
I think he got that a little off the end of the bat, being a changeup, and that didn't have the carry. But it went high off the wall, and watch this changeup. You could see trying to turn it over and take something off, but he left it middle of the plate, and it elevated a little bit. Ramirez kept his hands back, put a good swing, gets it off the wall. So his first AB of the year is going to be a double. That's a good sign.
Boy, not by more than a foot did he miss hitting that out of here.
I know, and he shook his head. He knew he didn't locate it the way he wanted to.
So Francisco Lindor with an RBI opportunity. Lindor in a new spot in the order this year. And this is what they will count on him to do. Drive in runs.
Well, this is a category where you want to see Frankie pick up. Last year he hit right around the 200 mark with runners in scoring position, and he's going to be hitting third in this lineup. You want to see him be a little more disciplined when you get guys in scoring position. And if they don't want to throw you a strike, let that next guy behind you take care of it, who was very good at it last year.
Popped him up on the infield. The shortstop Mondesi makes the grab, 2 away.
You see, he's looking maybe for something away. They want to come inside. That's that cutter in off the plate. A tough pitch to handle, especially when you have the count in your favor. Just a 1-0 count. He might have been looking for that fastball, but it had some run to it and got in and get on the hands.
Well, that's going to bring up Carlos Santana, who set a career high in runs batted in last year with 85 of them. I'm sorry, in 93. What I meant to say was he's driven in 85 or more in 5 of the last 6 years. Last year, the career high of 93, but he's, you know, like Lindor, he's a guy that could hit high in the order, but he's also really come into his own as a run producer in the middle.
Carlos had his best year using the whole field last year. He used the middle part. He was the best at driving them in early. He carried this team for a while, and he has very good career numbers against Kansas City. He's a 300 hitter, 30 homers, 91 ribbies against the Royals in his career,
and especially against Danny Duffy. He is 16 for 36. That's a .444 average. But he's in the hole here, 0-2, with Jose Ramirez at second base and 2 down in the bottom of the first. Back out of play. Santana also, how many times do you suppose last year we saw him 0-2 and he would work the count to 3-2?
Oh, he does it, I think, once a game. You know, when he does get down in the count, he has a good enough eye. You may get him to maybe chase one once in a while, but he's very disciplined up there. He takes his walks. You know, he'll take the 100 walks.
Good eye on a ball in the dirt.
See, now, I mean, he has a chance that he tried to get him to chase a pitch. And Perez back there, he knows that Santana, you're trying to get him to chase your pitch when you have him down 0-2. So let's throw one in the dirt, see if he chases it. And the catcher knows, hey, I'm going to block it if it's in the dirt. That's what he wants. He wants it down there. Now he can go 2 ways. He can go back down in the dirt with a breaking ball, or he can elevate the heater up above the hands.
Had this season started back in March when it was supposed to, the Royals would not have had Salvador Perez behind the plate. He was not fully recovered from the Tommy John surgery and the elbow, the lingering elbow issues. And let's face it, for a catcher, it's almost like coming back from Tommy John for like a pitcher. You've got to be able to throw 100 pitches every game. You got to throw it back to the pitcher. You got to throw it on the second. Got him looking. That was a really good slow hook by Danny Duffy. So Santana frozen at the dish. We've played 1 scoreless in Cleveland. Terry Francona He has been special ever since he really got into the manager's position. First in Philadelphia, it took him a while to figure things out, but man, took off with Boston. And all of a sudden you look up and Tito, along with Bob Melvin and Tampa's Kevin Cash, are the only current managers who have been in charge of their team for 5 full seasons.
Cashy's been down there. That's amazing, isn't it?
That's how just quickly things turn over nowadays.
Well, that's true.
Tito, of course, has been here since 2013. Swinging a foul tip. Bob Melvin has been in Oakland since mid-season 2011. Tito's then right behind him.
And Melvin managed a couple other places in Arizona and Seattle.
Ryan McBroom is the leadoff man for Kansas City. You don't want to say he got the job by default, because it sounded like they were leaning towards maybe a platoon scenario with Ryan McBroom and Ryan O'Hearn, but O'Hearn fell victim to the COVID-19 virus, so he's been sidelined.
They've had a few guys with that, haven't they?
I don't know that there's a team that's been hit harder. Struck him out looking. I think at one time or another they had 8 players who have had to deal with it. Currently they're missing 2 guys in their starting rotation, Brad Keller and Jacob Junis. Fastball just painted it.
Well, he got the fastball by him because he threw the sliders out there that he swung and missed, so he figured, I'm going to take this one, but it was straight, right on the edge.
Michael Franco to the plate. Last year with Philadelphia, batted .234. 17 home runs, 17 doubles. Hop back out of play. Hunter Dozier was the most recent Kansas City Royals player to test positive for COVID-19. He was going to be their right fielder, which meant Whit Merrifield would have been the center field starter.
Okay.
And that would have left Bubba Starling on the bench and looking for at-bats that way.
Well, Dozier, he had a couple of game-winning hits against the Indians last year.
Franco down swinging, and that's 3 strikeouts in a row now for Shane Bieber.
Well, if you purchase game tickets for the 2020 season, the Indians have developed options for you, including a flexible credit that can be used at any time in 2021, a 10% bonus credit added to your 2020 purchases, and priority access to pre-sales, including 2021 opening day. Refund options are also available. Call 216-420-HITS tonight through the end of the 3rd inning, and you can go over all of your options.
Here is Nicky Lopez, left-handed hitting second baseman, who is defensively, he catches the ball, he does all the things you want out of your second baseman, but offensively, as you see there, not much in the way of productivity. So the Royals challenged him in the offseason to really concentrate on his strength and his conditioning. They feel like it paid off. He's in better shape. Physically, they think he's stronger. We'll see if it translates.
Well, Bieber's locking in now. He struck out the last 3 guys he's faced. He's starting to get a feel out there. It was, took him that 1st inning to get locked in.
Now the 1-2. It's just so weird. We're sitting here on July 24th, and yes, it's the first game, but it doesn't feel like opening day.
No, it doesn't.
Got him looking. Painted the fastball on the outside corner at the knees, and Shane Bieber strikes out the side here in the 2nd inning. First pitch in the dirt. Going back to spring training, Terry Francona and the ball club talked a lot about getting Reyes reps in the outfield. They wanted to try and get him out there as often as possible to see if they could, use him on a regular basis during the season to free up the DH spot for others. Swing and a miss. But since summer camp resumed, just weren't a lot of opportunities to get him out there. And so I think we're going to look at him as primarily the designated hitter.
Yeah, I would agree, especially the number of outfielders they've decided to keep here. Santana you have as well, and he's, not the best outfielder in the world, but you try to get those bats going, and if they can get hot, they can do a lot of damage. But defensively, you're not going to look for any one of them to make any, sensational plays. You just don't want them to mess anything up.
Franmil Reyes just turned 25 a couple of weeks ago. That's the pitch that they want him to really concentrate on laying off of. It's a tough pitch to lay off.
Well, most hitters see it the best. That's why they go after it. And if you just can't catch up to it, you foul it back. But he's got that zone right above the belt.
Smacks that one into left field, and the Indians have their second hit of the night. Leadoff man aboard here in inning number 2. Tonight's injury report is brought to you by the attorneys at Elk & Elk. Tyler Naquin fouled a ball off of his foot the other day and has a slight fracture in that right big toe. And Delino DeShields is doing well. He's doing baseball activities. He's trying to get himself ready to play, and hopefully that will be in the next couple of weeks. Jordan Luplow pops the first pitch up back behind the plate and out of play.
Well, the other thing that we don't mention with Tyler Naquin, and maybe you mentioned it earlier, is Zach Plesac doesn't start the season on the roster, but he still, as you guys know, is scheduled to start on Tuesday. So there will be a move. So I think the big hope in talking to Naquin is he thinks he'll be fine by then. But with that fracture, he's basically got to deal with the pain and play through it, guys.
Right. It's how much pain can you tolerate,
right,
or put on it. But that's the last thing you want to see after as hard as that kid worked to get back, after the knee surgery. You hate to see something happen and just sideline him again.
Well, we talked to Tito about this before the game. We all know that he usually likes to try to get everybody involved early in the season. And with the outfield situation and all the guys they have, Arch, how the heck is he going to get all these guys into a rhythm, or is he going to be able to?
It'll be tough. I mean, you can only play 3 at a time, and if you don't have the revolving, DH, where you can give somebody an at-bat, if you're going to keep Reyes in there, it's going to be hard to do.
Well, tomorrow night we know that we will see the left-handed bunch.
The left-handed troops?
The left-handed bunch, yes.
With Mercado still in center field.
Correct.
Though. Yeah, so you'll see Zimmer and Johnson.
And good for Daniel Johnson, because he worked his tail off and had a great summer camp.
Well, I remember you came up and said, Tito said it was no fault of his own. It was just a numbers game, and guess what? His number was called back up, wasn't it?
And Tito said, don't put your head down. Keep working, because your moment can come at any point in time. And came opening day.
Isn't it funny how things like that work out?
Yes, it is.
It seems like every spring we leave, something happens. It was a tough call to cut somebody, and the next thing you know, you see him again.
Well, I would go as far to say Zimmer wouldn't be on the team, Chang wouldn't be on the team, and Johnson wouldn't be on the team if we left back in March.
I totally agree with you, 100%.
Salvador Perez, like Roberto Perez, really takes a great deal of pride in his defense, and you can see that on display as he kept that ball in front of him.
Without a doubt, 2 of the best catchers in all of baseball are in this ballpark tonight.
Rick, before the game, do you think having a year off for Perez is going to help him? Because they've played him so many games for the last 5 years before he was out last season. Do you think that'll help him?
It's certainly not going to hurt him, I don't think. Yeah, he was out there, and he went through a year, I think, like Perez did last year with Roberto, his ankle, in pain all year. When you're playing that position, you don't feel good most of the time. You're playing through pain a lot of the year. So maybe a year like that, it probably drove him crazy. But he's happy to be back. I know that. He really has fun playing baseball, and he means a lot to the Kansas City Royals.
Meanwhile, Jordan Luplow won't let one go past. He keeps fouling pitches off from Danny Duffy.
Well, he knows that he's getting a chance to face a lefty right out of the chute. He wants to do damage early.
Tell you what, Jordan Luplow last year, I know he got tired of talking about facing left-handed pitchers, but the numbers bear out how good he was. He was 4th in the league last year with a .742 slugging percentage against lefties.
Yeah.
Three-man shift on the left side of the infield, and Luplow pops one in the air, left field, Gordon. One away. That will bring up Domingo Santana. Domingo Santana, you see his numbers last year with the Mariners, but what those numbers don't tell you is that in the first 31 games of the year, he had 30 runs batted in.
Yeah, I remember the start that he got off to.
Pops the first pitch up. Right side of the infield, Lopez will give way to McBroom, who hangs on as that ball landed squarely in the pocket. 2 down.
Well, baseball is back, and the MLB app is the only place to get all your baseball action. In-game video highlights, breaking news, player updates, standings, game day live, pitch by pitch, and much more. Download the MLB app today, the official app of Major League Baseball.
Roberto Perez, career high 24 home runs a season ago. Looks at a fastball low. You look at Duffy in his numbers a year ago in terms of batting average. He did better against right-handed batters. Held them to a .249 mark against .257 against left-handed hitters.
Well, that's the thing. Once he can get into that groove and get a feel for maybe that changeup away where he can bounce a curveball and that cutter in, if he gets into a groove, then he might have some success because you're not making him switch back and forth. Tries to go heater away.
Popped him up foul. That's going to be out of play. Well, the one thing Mike Matheny doesn't have to worry about with Danny Duffy is the walk. He's pretty good as far as throwing strikes and not walking a lot of batters, but boy, they've had some brutal games here in summer camp when it comes to walks. Ground ball to short. Mondesi will go to second for the inning-ending force. And after 2 in Cleveland, no score. Mobile replay. Let's take a look at the last 4 strikeouts from Shane Bieber.
Well, he's locking in. You're going to see a good curveball there. He gets him to chase. Then a fastball paints the outside corner, called looking. Another good curveball, and then another painted heater. And, you know, in his first 15 pitches, it was 53%. That was the first inning where he was having some issues. He's locked it in now, 67% in his last 18 pitches, and his last 4 outs have come via the strikeout.
Arch, consistency is the word. When you talk to Carl Willis, when you talk to Terry Francona, you talk to his teammates. They all say that he is consistent every single day, still very humble. And I know I did this hit a year ago, but it's even more true. He worked on that changeup on the offseason, and Carl Willis said we won't see it so much against the righties. And I know there's been a lot of right-handed hitters in this Royals lineup, But against the lefties, he plans on using the changeup more this season.
Well, he had that plan last year, and he sort of shelved it because that slider turned out to be so good.
Well, for fans at home, and I know you can explain it better than I can, the slider works against the righties, but he wants another weapon against left-handed hitters. Now, why wouldn't that slider work against lefties?
Well, it will, but, you know, it's going to be coming down and into them, and if you hang one, they could take one swing and hit it out. He wants maybe something going down and away to the left-handers, and if you're going to take him out, take him to left field. It's much harder. And I saw him when he was pitching here in the summer camp, where he was trying to get, you know, some more downward movement to his changeup. Now, whether he can do that, it's all a matter of, I think he's got a little different grip this year than he had last year.
Yes, he did change the grip.
Yeah, trying to get a little more movement on it, going down.
Wow, that was an unbelievable performance by Shane Bieber. He threw 2 breaking balls that were about 58 feet in the dirt, and then he just smoked them with a fastball. And Bubba Starling, he swung at 2 pitches that he couldn't have hit with a boat oar and took the fastball right down the slot.
Well, that's what happens. Bingo, bango, you're gone.
Well, Matt, that's what doesn't make sense. You would think that'd be the pitch that he'd be sitting on.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And we had a mark last year. He gets more strikeouts with the guys looking than almost anyone else in baseball.
Well, because he's not afraid to throw his fastball. But he can paint with that thing. I mean, he can keep it on the edges. Normally, he doesn't miss, you know, on a good part of the plate. Outstanding control. I mean, ever since he first came up to the big leagues, he's been pitching like this. Now he's just getting smarter and learning more and getting to know people. And lineups are going to try to make adjustments on him. We saw it last year where after he's faced him one time or so, they're saying, I'm not letting this guy get ahead of me. I'm going to get aggressive early.
Whit Merrifield goes to right. Santana is there. Domingo Santana for out number 2. Well, as I said in the first inning, the top part of this Royals lineup, you know, they have everything you want. Contact guys, speed guys, power. Bottom part of the lineup, different story. And it was a problem for them last year, and it could be a problem again this year, especially with the injuries and illness on top of what is already a thin roster. Adalberto Mondesi reached on a fielder's choice first time up. Oh, man, that was a beautiful curveball, especially you get ahead of the hitter with that fastball, and then you come back with that. Now you've got him 0-2, and he's not sure what to look for.
Well, they figured, let me see if I can get you to chase.
As Mike Freeman said, who faced him in inter-squad games, his current teammate, when you face Bieber, you don't realize how good his curveball is because it doesn't have that little pop out of his hand like a lot of curveballs do. And as we saw with Corey Kluber over the years, when that pitch comes out of your hand and you can't tell what it is, if it looks like the fastball and then all of a sudden has that sharp break, you're in trouble.
But they all come out of the same spot.
Yeah.
You know, the fastball, the slider, the curveball, they come and you just don't see the same spin. There you'll see a bad swing way out in front. So he is on fire.
6 strikeouts for Shane Bieber in the first 3 innings here tonight. With no score, it will be Oscar Mercado leading it off. Then we'll go to the top of the order. Danny Duffy has allowed 2 hits in the first 2 innings, has struck out 1. Mercado swings at the first pitch and pops it up. The Indians look to be a tad on the aggressive side here tonight in the early going.
Well, stop by the Progressive Field Team Shop and you'll find great lineup of the latest Tribe gear and collectibles for the entire family. Visit Indians.com/team shop for hours and details.
Cesar Hernandez, fly to right first time up. And Duffy with a fastball strike. mentioned, Rick, the Indians look to be a little bit aggressive. I think that would be very understandable because they've never waited this long, probably in their entire lives, to play a baseball game.
Well, you know, they know it counts. They're looking for that good fastball, maybe first pitch that they get, but he's riding it up there. And Santana did it last inning on the first pitch. He made it out, but you know what? That's going to happen. You see a pitch you think you can handle, and you want to jump on it, but there's some movement on this guy's pitch coming on the inside part of the plate.
We always say in baseball, patience can be your best friend. And I think that's going to be tested at times this year because of the shortened season. The added importance of not just every game, but every at-bat. Fouled out a play to the right.
Well, you want to go up there with a game plan before you get into it and not give away at-bats. We talk about giving at-bats away every year, but it's so early, and I can see how they can be aggressive. 4 of the 10 Indians have swung at first pitch.
Big hopper, and Cesar Hernandez is retired, 2 down. Our great clip of the game, September 24th last year in Chicago. Jose Ramirez, first game back after having surgery to repair a fractured hamate bone. Homered from each side of the plate.
That was something special right there. People couldn't believe it.
A grand slam and a 3-run.
People were thinking, okay, now the Indians are back. They're going to take off. And we talked about it, I think, on Monday's telecast. They ended up going the other way.
Yeah. Really thought that was going to be the spark and put them over the top, but it didn't work out that way. And I think the key for Jose Ramirez is just having a healthy Francisco Lindor start the season with him. I think whether he would ever admit it or not, he put maybe too much pressure on himself. Maybe not pressure is the right word, but he was trying to carry the load.
Well, the Indians team would go as Jose went for the last few years. You know, he was the spark plug, the spark that got this offense going. And when he started off slow, he put pressure on himself and tried to do too much because you could pitch around him. He was swinging at pitches out of the zone. And that happens to players every once in a while.
First at bat, he got a changeup and almost hit it out of here. He came within about a foot of giving the Indians an early lead. Hit off the top of the wall and left, but he was stranded at second base in the first inning.
That's a good pitch. I'll tell you what, Duffy's moving it around pretty well. It might have been just a tad low. It was. You see Perez trying to pull it up. He did. He's got quick hands back there too when it comes to the framework.
Payoff pitch. Struck him out looking, and now Jose Ramirez doesn't like it. Second K for Danny Duffy. The Indians go in order for the first time tonight. No score through 3 in Cleveland. No score, 4th inning. Last year, Jorge Soler led the league with 48 home runs. Whit Merrifield led the league with over 200 hits. And the last teammates to lead in each category, Darren Erstad and Troy Gloss of the Angels in 2000.
Yeah, that's quite a long time, 19 years.
Soler to lead off. He walked his first time up.
You know, when you hit 48 home runs and you're playing in Kansas City, they never had a 40 home run guy until a few years back. Moustakas got it, didn't he? And then that was broken quickly. This guy is.
Yeah, didn't Steve Balboni have the mark at 36 for the longest
and then
time?
Gaetti went over there and played. I think he had around 36 as well. And then Moustakas had 38. But that's a big old ballpark they play in. But this kid is a big, strong man. He also had 33 doubles, 117 RBIs, which was second most in the league.
Just missed outside. Royal to ever lead the league in homers. Now full count.
Well, here's a guy, he walked him the first time, and you figure he doesn't want to make a mistake because he knows one swing he could leave the yard. He walked him after he had 2 outs, and then Perez had a base hit, and then he started to lock in. The hitters now are saying that ball's a little off the plate. It might have been, but Bieber has been around the plate, and that is his 7th strikeout.
Well, I think the problem the hitters are having, and it might be on both sides, is one time it's a ball, and then the next time maybe it's a strike. So just a tad on the inconsistent side.
Yeah. That looked like, you know, from our pitch tracker, it might have been a little outside.
Already 7 strikeouts now for Shane Bieber. And Salvador Perez, who singled the center his first time up. It's the only hit so far tonight for Kansas City.
Matt, Rick, could the umpires be a little rusty since they haven't had games for 4 months, possibly?
Well, they could be, but if a guy's around the plate.
I would say 2 of the last 3 strike threes, though, have not been over the plate. The one to Jose Ramirez was, to me, wasn't a strike, and neither was
Okay, well,
yeah.
It's been a little inconsistent, as Matty said. But we'll take it with Bieber on the mound.
widen that zone, you'll see guys swinging. You know, they know the strike zone pretty well, even though they haven't been playing a lot. But that's why you don't want Bieber to get ahead of you, because he can throw pitches like that and make you chase. Take a look at the difference between the slider and the curveball from Bieber. That slider's tight, and sometimes it looks like a little cutter. That one was good. That went to Gordon where he got it. Now the curveball's got a little more of a hump to it, and that's going to go straight down. You can see the different spin. That's got more of a 12-6 break to it. And down at the knees. There's the changeup. That had good movement to it at 88. That went down nicely.
Thinking Gordon would be aggressive, and that's why he went after, or that's why he threw a first pitch changeup.
Came back with it.
He knew he was going to be aggressive.
Back. Yes, he did. So far, Bieber's had 8 0-2, 1-2 counts tonight. And there it is. It's almost like a circle change now. And you can see where it comes off that 3 fingers, and that's where he can get that spin for it to go down. But he comes back and gets the fastball he was looking for the pitch before and gets a base hit.
Second hit of the night for Kansas City. Both of them have been to center field, and both of them have been with 2 outs.
Yeah, well, when you're a good veteran hitter, he says, okay, I went change up, fastball away. Good hitters don't miss their fastball when they get it in an at-bat. He's been a good hitter. Thinking he was going to retire at the end of last year, but they talked him out of it to come back. They wanted his veteran leadership on this young team.
Ryan McBroom, last year AAA, hit .315 in the Yankees organization. 26 homers, 66 runs batted in. He was just blocked. There was nowhere for him to go in the Yankee organization.
No kidding.
So they basically dealt him for international slot pool money, signing bonus pool money, one of those deals.
Well, he had his fastball that last swing and fouled it straight back. Bieber got him with 2 sliders in his first at bat and took the fastball right there. So once again, ahead 0-2.
Just a tad high, maybe a ball width off the plate.
That may be the setup for this pitch, going back to that slider down and away after the fastball up and away.
Shane Bieber, 25 years old. down. The ball goes to the backstop. Perez from his backside able to throw him out.
How about that?
Terrific throw by Perez, who he fielded the carom well, but then his feet went right out from under him. But he never panicked. He just set his sights and made a perfect throw to end the inning. 9 strikeouts for Shane Bieber. No score, bottom of the 4th inning. Francisco Lindor will lead it off. Danny Duffy has given up 2 hits for Kansas City, and Lindor pops one up. Boy, another aggressive approach. 1 pitch, 1 out. Let's go down to Andre Knott, who's standing by with a very special guest tonight.
Yes, I know an opening day is not like most opening days with no fans here, but the Indians have done a really cool thing by putting some cutouts of some of your favorite fans of all time. Obviously, here's John Adams with his drum, and usually he's up there in left field, but we've got some other things up there. So John is here. John, I know many years you've made it to this game, and everybody wanted to say thank you for their service and the time that you've been around us, and we even got the pink guy with the mask on up here as well. Don't you have your own cutout? Why do you?
I was going to say, that's a pretty lifelike cutout next to you.
Yeah, he's moving. Get away from me.
That one takes batteries, huh?
Yeah, it takes batteries. But we just wanted to shout out to all the fans that couldn't be here that are watching. We appreciate you guys.
Andre, we understand, though, that the Indians did record John Adams' drum.
Yes.
And at the appropriate time, we may hear that tonight.
Matt, you're absolutely right. When it's a big part of the game, you will hear the drums of John Adams. The players actually said that they are so accustomed and used to hearing John Adams that they wanted to have a chance to have that noise here if we could, and they had it.
All right. Hey, Andre, get Slider's mask. You can use it as a bib when you come up for dinner.
You and I can use that thing as a bib. You got to put it over your nose, man.
Dr. Fauci, Andre Fauci, and they're showing Slider how to wear the mask. 3 Royals infielders left side of the infield for Carlos Santana, who was called out on strikes his first time up. 2-2. Duffy has pitched well. He's given up just the 2 hits.
I mean, he's 32 strikes out of his 53 pitches. His 21 balls. He's moved it around nicely. Change speeds. He's got the changeup, the curveball, cutter in. You know, not much of a leg kick. It's almost like a slide step coming right at you. As I mentioned, he went a few years, and last year he finally made a start. He was 3-11 against the Indians with a 5.48 ERA, and on July 28th last year at Kauffman Stadium, he finally got a win against them after 10 straight losses.
Mondesi throws out Santana. There are 2 down. And that is now 8 straight retired by Danny Duffy. Ronmil Reyes, the last hitter to reach for Cleveland, and he'll bat with 2 away here in the 4th inning.
Reyes got a single on a changeup in his first at-bat. Boy, and their outfield is about as deep as you can get for any player, and rightfully so. Be like this guy, he's about the same size as Soler, both very large men.
Hop popped him up. Playable, first base. And the Indians go in order again. 9 in a row retired by Duffy. Baseball is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit Kia.com to see what it means to give everything. The injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. And by the Cleveland Clinic. Your safety comes first at Ohio's #1 hospital. A beautiful night and a long-awaited one for baseball fans everywhere. The Indians are back in action, and it has been a pitcher's duel through the first 4. Neither team has cracked the scoreboard. Hits are even at 2 apiece. Shane Bieber has struck out 9. His counterpart, Danny Duffy, has only given up 2 hits but has struck out just 2 batters. So he's had a lot of weak swings, pop-ups. Bieber has just thoroughly dominated the Royals lineup to this point. Michael Franco takes a called third strike, and now he's beefing with home plate umpire Dan Isonia. But that is 10 strikeouts for Bieber.
And 4 of them have been called on my card. Let's take another look at it. Is it going to be away? That's just maybe off the outside edge, but he's been calling that pitch a strike. So they're going to have to make an adjustment.
And I think all those strikeouts that you were talking about looking have all been on the fastball.
Yeah, he's got 5 called. Yeah, 5.
And most of them, I think, have been that just trying to paint it away.
Yeah, that's what he's done.
Nicky Lopez was rung up first time up. Slaps it foul. And it's 0-2, an unenviable position against Bieber, especially tonight. 66 pitches, 43 of them have been strikes.
This is one of those games defensively when you sit behind Bieber, whether you're an infielder or an outfielder, you're just looking in, you're watching him deal. Move it in and out. Payton swings and misses and throw the ball around the infield. That's the only thing keeping the infielders loose.
Pop to shallow center. Mercado racing in, can't get to it. And on just the 5th ball put in play tonight, the Royals get their 3rd hit. Here's a look on StatCast, powered by Google Cloud. Roberto Perez. Pop time 1.95. And then how about this play?
This was impressive because he slips, but he still maintained composure to get up and make a throw, and an accurate throw to get him at first base.
99 feet from the seat of his pants.
Are you saying you couldn't throw at 99 feet sitting down?
Couldn't throw at 99 inches. Out of play to the right. Bubba Starling, 56 games last year, hit .215, 4 homers, a dozen runs batted in. He was one of those players, because he's essentially a local product. Fans were waiting and waiting. When is Bubba going to get here? When is Bubba going to get to the big leagues? And the Royals felt like once he finally got there, all of that went away, and he was able to relax because he was grinding, trying to get his way to the big leagues.
Yeah, well, it's tough to get here, and it's tougher to stay.
Especially, Rick, with so much fanfare surrounding him.
Right. Expectations are put on you before you even get here.
Well, I always remember Andy Van Slyke when he was a young St. Louis Cardinals outfielder. They were comparing him to Stan Musial, and he looked at the people who were saying that and said, "Look at the back of my jersey. It says Van Slyke, not Musial."
That's true.
You know comparisons like that.
Well, they had Alex Gordon, who came out of Nebraska as a third baseman. They were comparing him to George Brett.
Oh, there's another beautiful curveball, and Bubba Starling could do nothing with it. That is now 11 Ks for Bieber.
Yeah, you just watch him. He just breaking ball, fastball. I don't know if that was a changeup. That thing went. I can't tell. It's a French fry.
Runner at first, 2 down. Whit Merrifield, the batter is Nicky Lopez, draws a throw. It's not. I find myself probably going to be saying this quite often. It's not a typical opening day because there's nothing typical about this entire season, but I can't remember a guy in his first start of the year with an 11 strikeout, just thoroughly dominant performance like this in recent memory anyway.
Now Bieber's the first guy to start other than the name of Corey Kluber since 14. That's when Justin Masterson started the home opener. It's been Kluber ever since, and now Bieber, and I'm sure we'll see him start a few more as well.
Down low, and Merrifield. You don't get 200 or more hits, bat over 300 by swinging at balls in the dirt. He doesn't do that very often.
He was looking for something away there. I want to send along a happy birthday wish to our own Ashley Collins. Happy birthday.
All right, Ash.
Celebrating tonight. I don't know if she's out doing something or watching the ball game.
I'll bet a little of both.
Why not?
The 2-1 runner goes, and it's fouled away.
One more birthday. I have to, Lena Pellman celebrating her 100th birthday, and a very big baseball fan, and she is thrilled that it is back. So, Lena, happy birthday.
Happy 100. 100 years ago, the Indians wore the crown in Major League Baseball.
That's right. 1920.
Two down with a runner at first base. Lopez able to get back. Bieber's at 75 pitches.
That's amazing with 11 strikeouts, you know. He's been very aggressive again.
Back out of play. Well, Andre and I spoke to Shane while we were all shut out of baseball, and you know, he worked his tail off to stay ready. And to his credit, and the other pitchers' credit, and Carl Willis and Ruben Niebla, those guys all kept in close contact and pushed each other, whether it was by social media. I know a couple of guys were able to get together in person, but you know, they had Zoom calls. They kept on each other, pushed each other. Hey, make sure you get out, do your throwing. And I think that's a big reason why they came into camp ready to go instead of having to nurse their way into this kind of shape. Oh boy, just missed outside. At times, this has been called a strike.
That's a little bit too wide for that guy that's at the plate. If it's in the hitting area, he's going to hit it or swing at it.
There have been a few Kansas City complaints. The runner will be off on this 3-2 pitch. And it's rifled into right field. No surprise there. Domingo Santana comes up throwing to third. They go back to first after Lindor cut it. But the Royals are safely at the corners with 2 down.
That's the patented Whit Merrifield base hit right there. He's looking for the ball away, and he short strokes it to right field. I mean, he loves it away. I mean, he can live on that pitch, and he doesn't miss it. He stays inside the baseball, and it's a nice little line drive. And off and running, no problem for Lopez to get to third base, so they'll have runners at the corner. Still 2 outs.
And the batter will be Adalberto Mondesi. Bounced into a fielder's choice in the first, struck out swinging in the third. Bottom fell out of that slider, and as you said, you think of a slider as more of a tilted pitch, but his looks almost at the end more like straight curveball because it goes straight down.
It can't go down, and his curveball, you see it had, we showed you earlier, it has different spins to it. I mean, the slider and the curveball, but when he throws his slider hard and tight, that thing has some movement going straight down, late, very late. Now I would send Merrifield from first base to take off, figuring he may try and bounce another one in the dirt and try and get yourself into scoring position, because even if you get thrown out, you'd have Mondesi leading off. You can see 53 strikes out of his 80 pitches.
Well, Mondesi saw that tight slider, then the slow curve. They might go up and away with the fastball.
Well, that's not a bad pitch, because if he does take off, it'll be a good one for Perez to throw instead of going down in the dirt. Then
there goes the runner.
There you see, I knew they were going to send him 0-2. But he didn't bounce that one, but it's a stolen base, and it was Perez didn't even bother throwing it. And what you're doing, you're protecting Mondesi is the key when you send a hitter, because even if Merrifield gets thrown out and they throw through, you'll have Mondesi leading off next inning. But now he's got a chance to drive in 2 runs instead of 1.
Right back with that break ball. That is how much faith and confidence this pitching staff has in Roberto Perez. Even with runners at second and third, 2-out scoreless game, he's not afraid to bounce that ball to try and get the hitter to chase, because he knows Perez will just throw his body in front of him.
Yeah, he's a guy, no pass balls last year.
Yeah.
The pitchers the Indians throw, they have, I mean, when you try and catch a Clevenger, you know, and you go out there and Bieber, I mean, it's hard. And Bauer was here last year too before he left. I mean, that's an impressive stat right there. So he wants to go out and get on the same page on a 2-2 count. You've got the big hitter coming up next. He just wants to talk to Bieber about how he wants to get Mondesi out of here.
Now the 2-2. Another ball bounced in there. So Mondesi doing a good job of being patient. Has worked the count full, and you've got the big bat of Jorge Soler waiting on deck.
Now, does he give in and throw the fastball in this situation, or does he stay with the breaking ball and throw it for a strike?
Swung on and missed. He stayed with it. Do you see that fist pump? You know that felt good. That's a dozen Ks for Shane Bieber in 5 shutout innings here on opening night. Say, even without the fans, and we sorely miss their presence and the energy that you folks bring when you pack this place, it's still a gorgeous ballpark. No score, bottom of the 5th inning. Jordan Luplow to lead it off, and he takes down low, ball 1. Luplow fly to left. His only time up. Danny Duffy. 58 pitches so far tonight. He's given up just 2 hits. Oh, and Luplow is drilled. He was trying to turn out of the way. And it seemed like that ball just kept bearing in on him as he turned.
He could not get out of the way of it. He turned right into it, and Duffy's telling him right there, man, I'm sorry. That was one of those cutters. He's trying to run it up and in. He did it in his first at-bat. He fouled him off, but this one got away. Watch the shoulder. Yeah, right on the top, but you couldn't, no way you could get out of the way of that. Right on the L of Luplow.
Would that be the scapula?
I don't know, doctor. But that, I'll tell you what, they finally have a base runner, and it's a leadoff runner. See if they can capitalize.
Domingo Santana again swings at the first pitch, pops it up, foul caught by McBroom. So Santana has seen 2 pitches, and he's 0 for 2. Well, these Indians hitters tonight just cannot stay patient.
Well, they're all going after that first pitch, and he's throwing something hard and in. Not very good pitches to hit, but he's running over to the stands.
Nice play by McBroom.
Yeah, McBroom is almost like the basket catch. He sweeps it into the glove.
1 on, 1 out. Roberto Perez bounced into a fielder's choice to end the 2nd inning. I think what we're seeing here tonight from Duffy is something our old buddy Brian Anderson used to say. As a left-handed pitcher, when you get an all right-handed lineup, you just kind of find your groove, and you don't have to make any real changes.
You don't have to make an adjustment when the left-hander steps in and offsets your rhythm into the right-handers.
Mike Matheny has to be thrilled from what he's gotten out of Duffy so far tonight. There is action in the Kansas City bullpen, but that may just be a guy getting up, getting some action who hasn't pitched in a while. I don't know. They'd be thinking about pulling the plug on Duffy at this point, the way he's pitching. He's just over 60 pitches. Right-hander Scott Barlow is getting loose.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of the bullpens early, you know, in the first couple of weeks of the season.
Well, and as I mentioned earlier, the Royals are missing 2 starters from their rotation, so they're already having to plug some young and untested guys into starters' roles. And it looks like on Sunday they hadn't announced a starter to this point, but it looks like that could be a bullpen game.
Okay.
Roberto checks. It was low. They appeal. He did not go.
Well, and when Duffy has made his pitches, I mean, when he's missed, he hasn't missed by much on a lot of them. So he's been around the plate. This has been a really nice matchup between Bieber and Duffy. You see, he comes back, he gets a call, little in off the plate. Perez is saying, okay. Well, because Roberto knows his pitcher's getting a few calls as well. So you can't say a whole lot.
Right back up the middle, that gets through. Luplow will hit the bag. He's on his way to third. He'll go in standing. And the Indians have runners at the corners with 1 out as Roberto Perez delivers the Indians' first hit since the 2nd inning.
That's what you needed. You needed a base knock to put a little pressure on Duffy now. 1st and 3rd, and you're going to see the pitch. It looks like a little slide piece. It is. He gave him some swinging room, and he finds the hole up the middle. That enabled Luplow to get to third base. And it looks like Matheny's already made the move, man. And Duffy will not get through the 5th. He'll go 4 1/3, but he was pretty darn good tonight in that 4 1/3 inning.
He leaves after just 65 pitches, Rick. Only struck out 2, but boy, not a lot of hard contact tonight for Cleveland. And the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen has been made by first-year skipper Mike Matheny. He has called for Scott Barlow. The right-hander is coming on when we come back. Now through August 3rd, customers can score free MLB TV at T-Mobile.com/MLB. Well, here's the new pitcher for Kansas City. It's right-hander Scott Barlow. Last year, 61 appearances, 3 up, 3 down, 4.22 ERA.
He pitched 70 innings, though, 70 and a third out of that bullpen. That's some work. They had 92 punchies.
He comes into a tough spot, though, Rick. You know, you talk about managers, or I should say managers always talk about they like to get relievers into a game for a clean inning. He's coming in first and third, 1 out in a scoreless game. It's only the 5th inning, but you feel like one big hit could really swing the momentum either way. Mercado popped up on the infield his only time up. And a nice job by Salvador Perez to smother it.
Yeah, this is where Mercado's got to wait for a decent fastball that he can reach and try and elevate it and get it in the air, keep it off the ground. No wheels on first base for the Indians, and Perez.
Pitch. And oh man, nice stab by Perez. A good job by Mercado to get out of the way. At first I thought that was ticketed for the backstop.
This one gets out of the hand and it almost looks like it slipped coming out of the hand. No spin to it, didn't get it out front. Mercado last year, a nice job with runners in scoring position.
Breaking ball in, it's 2-1.
They're staying right there with it so he can get a feel of it. So obviously that's got to be his best pitch.
That ball missed a little high, so Oscar Mercado, really good patient approach here with runners in with a runner in scoring position. And now he's got the count in his favor, 3-1.
Yeah, just stay disciplined. You're in good hitters count, 3-1. You want to be very selective with a pitch here. He hasn't seen a fastball yet. There it was.
Bangs it up the middle, and it gets by Mondesi. The Indians strike first as Luplow scores. Roberto Perez goes all the way to third, and Oscar Mercado drives home the first run of the year for Cleveland. It's a 1-0 ball game in the 5th.
Excellent at-bat because he was patient. He didn't see a fastball in that at-bat till the 3-1 pitch, and he got enough of it to get it through the infield. There was a fastball down at 94. You see Mondesi playing him more to the hole. It gets by him up the middle. And then Perez was able to go to third base. So a nice job by Mercado. The Indians with their 4th hit, and that's who that run will be charged to, because Duffy hit Luplow, gave up the hit to Perez. And see if they can add on.
Well, Matt, Arch, I'll tell you this is big for Mercado because he told me he feels great, but just not comfortable at the plate.
Hernandez shoots it by the third baseman. Down the left field line it goes. Roberto Perez scores. Oscar Mercado into third. He'll stop there. It's an RBI double for Cesar Hernandez and a 2-0 Cleveland lead. Boy, was that a great piece of hitting. And Rick, you called it early when you talked about a guy who has great bat control. And that's what you saw right there on that swing.
No question. You watch it. They're playing him off the bag at third, but he just stayed on that ball, didn't try to pull it. And look at him, that ball tracked deep about into the plate and just slaps it by Franco at third base for a double. Another run will score, and both those runs are going to be charged to Duffy. So close the book on him. He pitched much better than those 2 runs given up. The bullpen came up, and he's hoping, all right, let's get out of it. Infield coming in now.
Jose Ramirez looks at a ball in the dirt. Did it hit him? Got him on the foot. And now they're loaded up. We talk about that back foot breaking ball. Well, he hit his spot. Unfortunately, he hit him right on the foot.
Literally. It did. It bounced. Caught him on the inside, and out comes the pitching coach. So he has not retired a batter. Come on, Mercado got the base hit. Hernandez got an RBI double, and now he hits Ramirez, and he is in deep water right now with Lindor coming up.
Let's get a word right now from Wayside Furniture.
Don't miss Wayside Furniture's last-minute pop-up parking lot clearance. One day only, Sunday, July 26, noon to 6.
Matt Underwood, Rick Manning, Andre Knott here at Progressive Field, where the Indians have broken through here in the 5th. 3 hits in the inning, 2 batters hit by a pitch, and now Cal Eldred has had his say with Scott Barlow, the reliever, who has come on and offered no relief to this point. The bases are loaded with 1 out for Francisco Lindor, who is 0 for 2 on the night.
0 for 2, and he is a .333 hitter against the Royals in his career with 25 homers, 71 RBIs. Now's a chance to really do some damage. There you'll see a good curveball, but he's so aggressive.
Most home runs against the Royals since 2010. Kia, give it everything. How about Francisco Lindor is right behind Carlos Santana. And what makes that stat almost preposterous is the fact that Lindor didn't make his debut till halfway through the 2015 season.
Right.
Popped back out of play. Well, over the last 3 years, he has hit 30 or more home runs each season, joining Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, and Albert Bell. You wouldn't think when the first time you saw Lindor that he was going to blossom into a power hitter with the likes of those guys.
Well, throw in 40 doubles as well.
Right.
You know, that's 30 homers and now 40 doubles. And he was the table setter leading off, and he liked it, and he took pride in scoring runs, but he's got a chance to do a lot of damage with driving him in this year.
Chase. And Lindor strikes out. He's 0 for 3. 2 down, bases still loaded. And up comes Carlos Santana.
Well, there's that breaking ball he's going to chase. Way out in front of that pitch. Starters cheering for that reliever. All right, let's hold him right there and get out of it. But he's got one more tough out to get.
Well, Carlos Santana is 0 for 2, has struck out, grounded out. Down and in. That's inside off the plate. Last year, Carlos Santana batted .280 when he had men on base. Had an on-base percentage of .458 with runners in scoring position. he's not one of those guys that gets overly aggressive in these situations. You know, sometimes, as we saw maybe with Frankie, you get up there in runners in scoring position, you want so badly to drive him in, maybe you swing at bad pitches. Santana usually doesn't fall into that trap.
Well, you get in trouble when he gets ahead in the count because he can be more patient. When you get behind, he still brings himself back into at-bats and counts.
Had a good pitch to hit. That was a fastball, but at 95, just couldn't quite square it up. It's 2-1.
Well, that's the thing, though. You can you're going to get that fastball 2-0 in a situation like that. He doesn't want to mess around. He's got to pretty much has to throw a strike there. So he had a pitch to hit and fouled it off.
2-0 Cleveland as they try to open it up now. Santana chops one on the right side, and Lopez will flip it to Mondesi to retire the side. Indians get on the board in the 5th. They lead it 2-0. This Rick Manning lunar shot is brought to you by our Toyota mid-game recap. Boy, Shane Bieber has been special here tonight. 5 innings in the books, 12 strikeouts, Rick.
Yeah, he has been incredible, and a lot of called strikeouts, but he has moved it around. Kansas City hitters disagree, but he's had an outstanding breaking ball tonight.
Our Shane Bieber has been great, but you know, myself, Matt, and the fans, we miss you telling us about the astrology and the moons.
Don't worry, we're coming up on August 4th. Sturgeon full moon.
Look at him, baby.
What
He's ready.
A sturgeon.
A regular moon?
Sturgeon?
Yeah.
Sturgeon. Okay.
Like a bird? Like a big bird?
No, big fish,
Big
man.
fish.
Must be down the lower Niagara.
Swing and a miss. Soler to a knee, lost his hat.
I mean, Arch.
Yes, sir.
There's been a couple times we had a full moon around the 4th of July, and my neighbor said it, and I said, I got to ask my partner if that's a full moon or not.
You didn't text me, though, did you?
Nah, I didn't want to bother you with the fireworks going on.
20th swing and miss of the night by Kansas City hitters against Shane Bieber.
That's amazing. That was a pretty good pitch that he was able to hold up on. You know, he's got everything going because he's even getting maybe a little help from that the home plate umpire being a little bit off. He's getting calls, but he has been around the plate.
Soler drives one to deep right field. Back is Domingo Santana, now in a few steps, and makes the catch. 1 down. Most opening day strikeouts in club history. Gary Bell.
How about that? He tied the great Gary Ding Dong Bell.
1960, April 19th.
I figured, you know, when you're talking strikeouts, you figured a McDowell, 11 opening day punch-outs. But look at the dates now. You got April 7th for McDowell, April 19th.
I thought maybe we'd had
go down in July.
Bob Feller sighting on that.
Yeah, I was thinking Feller. Well, he's got the only opening day no-hitter, but that's a lot of punch-outs.
Fastball right down. I mean, that's split the middle of the plate.
I wonder if old Gary is watching us tonight. If you are out there.
I think he's still awake. It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah. He's out west. Yes, he is.
The 1-1. Ground ball to third. It's foul. Two years ago, when he was last healthy, Perez hit 27 homers, drove in 80 for Kansas City, as you see James Karinchak getting warm in the Cleveland bullpen. Up the ladder he goes with a fastball, and Perez couldn't help himself. A dirty dozen, 13 strikeouts now for Shane Bieber. Man,
and now the leader, the all-time leader on opening day, 13 punch-outs. And that was a high-breaking ball or slider that he couldn't get on top of. Looking for that ball maybe to break down and away.
Alex Gordon pops it foul, back out of play. Struck out in the first. He singled in the fourth. Bieber, 93 pitches on the night, but he was built up. He was ready to go at least 100. High fastball, and really, when you think about it, Rick, not many stressful moments. Had a couple of runners in the first, a couple of runners, but really,
it took him an inning to find it. And then after he got that first strikeout, he ended up striking out 4 in a row, and then he got on a roll where he would strike out.
He struck out 5 in a row from the end of the first through the top of the third. Greg Holland loosening in KC's pen. 2 down, bases empty. The 1-2 pitch in the dirt. You could throw every pitch in the dirt tonight, and Roberto Perez probably would not complain. Boy, when we talked to him about a month or so ago, he just couldn't wait to get back in action with his guys. 2-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. What a night for Shane Bieber. Man, this guy has been incredible. An all-time best 14 opening day strikeouts for Bieber. Stick around. It's the Sugardale Hot Dog Derby. Back here at Progressive Field, where the Indians have a 2-0 lead. Bottom of the 6th inning, and the new Royals pitcher is Greg Holland, who began his career with Kansas City. At one point was a phenomenal closer. And then after dealing with an injury, came back with the Colorado Rockies, pitched with St. Louis, Washington, last year in Arizona, and now back where it all began in Kansas City. Ronmil Reyes with a high fly ball to left. Gordon, 1 down.
Well, our first 50-50 raffle of the season started at noon today, and it's presented by Sportstime Ohio and runs through August 14th. You can get your tickets at tribe5050.com. All the proceeds benefit Cleveland Indians charities, and our mission is to prepare youth for success. And so far tonight, we have $19,580 so far. Holland, back in his day before injuries, and he was in that 3-headed bullpen that Kansas City had in the years that they went to the World Series. He was about as tough as you could get. With the splitter, had a slider. You couldn't tell which one it was.
Yeah. I mean, he had a couple of years, 2013, 2014, 47 saves, then 46 saves.
Yeah, he was.
And in each of those years, how about a 121 and then a 144 ERA?
Very nasty.
Unfortunately, en route to winning the World Championship, though, in 15, that's when he blew out. Hammered foul by Jordan Luplow. mean, how heartbreaking would that be to be that good, and you're right in the middle of the season that your team goes on and wins it all,
yeah,
and you can't be out there part of it.
And he was a free agent after that too.
He missed all of the next season,
right?
And that's when I said he started bouncing around. He had a pretty good bounce back year though.
In Colorado?
Yeah, he had 41 saves the first year back after the surgery. But then more issues with the injury bug. He had a right hip injury. And now one more go-round, hoping he can help lead the way for some of their younger pitchers in the bullpen and give it some stability. Ian Kennedy really kind of in a surprise took over the closer's role.
Did a nice job for him last
really
year.
did, yeah.
Yes, he did. You know, he was forced from the rotation, and they used him as a closer, and he had very good control and had success doing that. But he was one of those guys that signed a big free agent deal, and they had to find some room for him.
Luplow pops it up. Is it playable? McBroom can't get to it. Well, Kansas City, you know, they're also looking to get a bounce back like Greg Holland from Trevor Rosenthal. He's a guy that used to be able to blow up the radar gun when he was with St. Louis. Mike Buffini well acquainted with him.
Where was he, in Detroit last year? I think he was. Rosenthal, yeah. I mean, he still threw hard, but it was all over the place.
Yeah. Ground ball to short Mondesi.
Beauty.
Throws him out. 2 away. Let's get a word right here from Cleveland Clinic.
Cleveland Clinic. Get the care you need when and where you need it. Visit clevelandclinic.org/access.
Greg Holland has retired the first 2 here in the 6th. Now Domingo Santana, who has been very aggressive. He has seen 2 pitches and 2 at-bats. A little low, almost hit the dirt, but Perez saved it. Indians on top 2-0 here in the bottom of the 6th. Both runs scoring in the 5th for Cleveland. When you look at the players on the field, it looks like business as usual. It's that shot behind home plate when you start to realize something seems different here.
Yeah.
Because all the players aren't in the dugouts. They're scattered throughout the various dugout suites behind home plate. They're trying to keep everybody distanced as much as possible. A little low.
One thing I noticed, that at least there's players out in the bullpen too. I mean, the bullpen's out there, and you can see them sitting very far apart. But yeah, there it is. You have to do it that way.
Three and 1 the count. And Domingo takes the ball in the dirt and draws a 2-out walk. Keeps the inning alive for Roberto Perez. And he really sparked the rally in the 5th with a perfectly placed base hit into center field. That sent Jordan Luplow to 3rd. And with runners at the corners, Oscar Mercado got the first RBI hit. And Cesar Hernandez followed with one of his own.
And there you'll see, now that a 2-0 lead, you take Santana out, you pinch run Zimmer, you put him in for defense.
Bradley Zimmer had one of the best summer camps of anybody here in Cleveland. And we know what he can do from a physical standpoint just when he gets on base. So they've got to pay attention to him even with 2 outs.
Andre, I got to ask you a question. Do you know if these guys like the extra men have the option to go up into that clubhouse and get loose if they're going to maybe get put into a ball game, or how it works?
I will work on this, so don't hold me to it. I think they can go do that.
Okay.
The reason they can't hit is because they're doing the same with, they quarantine the balls now that you hit during batting practice.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the balls have to sit out 5 days after they've been through batting practice or whatever else, so they don't have.
So they can't go into the hitting cages and hit like they normally would if they're going to pinch hit.
Right. So they may be able to go upstairs and work out. I know some of the pitchers that aren't pitching tonight
are in the weight room.
They're in the weight. They're letting them lift weights later in the night, so they won't watch the guys pitch, but they'll at least be doing something and keeping themselves separated from everyone else during games.
And that makes sense. I mean, they can get their work in because they have to share that facility anyway all day when everybody's here.
Well, let me ask you something on the other side. We know Zimmer, basically, when he was up a couple of years ago, didn't get thrown out stealing bases.
Yeah.
How difficult is it if you haven't played games in a while to catch a read and go back to stealing
It is difficult. That's one reason why I'm asking that question is, like, did he have an opportunity to go up there and maybe loosen his legs and stretch out and get things going?
I'm sure he could do that.
But even if you do that, it's not easy to come out when you haven't played and steal a base. It's a hard thing to do.
Perez is great when he hits the ball the other way. If he could hit a gap out there and let those legs go.
You can see him open it up.
3 strides, he'll be at third.
Well, count in his favor, so no reason to take off. Let him take a chance of getting a good pitch to hit here. And I got to tell you, from watching this Kansas City outfield, they play about as deep as they don't really come in and play shallow for anybody.
They think they're in Kansas City.
Well, this looks like no doubles defense when you have the lead right now. Runner goes. Pitch is low, ball 4.
He would have had it easily if it was a strike.
So 2 on, 2 out, and Oscar Mercado, who delivered the first run of the night with an RBI hit in the 5th inning, is coming to the plate.
Yeah, it was a good at-bat for Mercado to crack the ice. I mean, remember, he had a 3-1 count on him and didn't see a fastball until that 3-1 pitch, and then finally got the base hit and got it up the middle.
Well, you make a good point, though, Andre, about the depth of the defense, because Bubba Starling, we saw it last year. He has a tremendous arm in center field. I remember when he threw out Lindor at home plate. But as deep as he is, he won't be able to throw out Zimmer.
Oh, there's no way.
Even if the ball got to him on really quickly on one hop.
He was playing so deep, Perez went first to third on him on a base hit. If you go back to that inning, and you'll see Mercado gets this base hit to drive in a run. That scored Luplo, and that's exactly when Perez went to third base on that base hit. So there's no way he's going to get Zimmer.
It's funny, the Gordon and Starling are playing so deep. It looks like Merrifield is playing shallow. Mercado chases the ball in the dirt.
Well, just remember, when they go back home and play in their ballpark, that's a spacious outfield. And I remember the Indians went in there one year, and remember they said they got to try and have their outfielders play in a little bit more, and it's a scary feeling if you're not an outfielder that can go back on a ball. You're always concerned about the ball getting hit over your head and to the fence.
And yet the guy with the least amount of experience out there is the one playing shallow.
Yeah, because he wants to play the infield. He's a second baseman. He's an athlete. He's a baseball player and a good one.
Holland with an 0-2 pitch to Mercado. Fouled it back. Boy, he had a mistake to hammer. And Holland got away with a slider that backed up on him. Sometimes you do get away with these.
Well, 0-2 as a hitter, you're figuring you just got to protect, and you take a little different approach, but that was a big swing on a breaking ball that stayed there and backed up.
Bradley Zimmer in scoring position. Roberto Perez at first base, 2 down. And that pitch, another breaking ball, and that missed badly.
Well, he got the first 2 hitters in this inning with ease, and then he ended up walking Santana and walking Perez, keeping the inning going, and it's turned into a 23-pitch inning. 11 balls and 12 strikes.
There's a hard hit ball to short. Backhanded by Mondesi. He bobbled it, and they punch him out at third. So Bradley Zimmer couldn't beat the throw to the bag, and the inning is over. So the Indians strand a pair, and after 6 complete, it's Cleveland 2, Kansas City nothing. Get your small Frosty for $1 with a purchase all day. Well, the Indians go to the bullpen for the first time tonight. Shane Bieber went 6, and now Adam Cimber comes on to pitch here in the 7th. 68 appearances a year ago combined. Came over from San Diego. He's got the bottom part of the lineup. 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up. Bradley Zimmer stays in the game in right field. Shane Bieber authoring an Indians record 14 opening day strikeouts. Popped up right side of the infield. Cesar Hernandez. 1 away. Here's our Miller Lite moment. Shane Bieber. It was the Shane Bieber show tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. He was on target. He was painting with his fastball. He had an outstanding curveball, a few change-ups mixed in with his slider. Just vicious stuff. Once he got that first strikeout, it was nonstop. 3 different times he had 3 strikeouts in an inning.
Back our way, out of play. Shane Bieber from Southern California.
What a way to start it out, huh? A solid 6 innings.
Michael Franco struck out twice tonight. Back out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. Last year, the Indians played the Royals 19 times. Cleveland went 12-7, including a mark of 6-3 here at home. Just missed a bit outside.
They were 12-7 against Kansas City the last 3 years. And one of the reasons they've averaged over 5, I think it was 5.4 runs per game last year. And when you get good pitching, that's going to win you a lot of games.
Right back to Cimber. And Adam with the underhand flip, 2 down. In Major League history, here's a list of the all-time strikeout highs. Camilo Pascual for the 1960 Twins has the all-time record of 15, and then Bieber's up there with the big unit and Don Drysdale.
Yeah, how about that? And 1960 must have been that year, because that was the year that Gary Bell had the strikeouts. At one time Bieber tied and then took the lead away.
Well, you think about 1960, the decade began with the year of the pitcher, and it kind of ended 1968. Isn't that when
yeah.
Tiant and
oh yeah, and then they lowered the mound after that year.
Swung on and missed. He just floated that one past him. Adam Cimber, 7 out of 10 pitches have been strikes. Missed a bit high. That's wide of the mark. And so now, after throwing all those strikes, he's fallen behind Nicky Lopez, with the number 9 hitter Bubba Starling waiting on deck. Two-out walk keeps the inning alive. And Bubba Starling coming to the plate. Mike Matheny, as we mentioned before, in his first year as manager in Kansas City, and he recalled that early in his career, when he was in Milwaukee, his manager at the time, Phil Garner called him in one day and said, "Look, Mike, all I want you to do is catch the ball, make good throws. Whatever you bring us offensively, that's a bonus. Just catch the ball, throw the ball, play good defense." And that resonated in Matheny's head when he thought about, what am I going to say to Bubba Starling to try to get him going? Now, he's been lifted for a pinch hitter here, but that's what he was basically telling Starling. Look, clear your head of all the expectations and what you heard from everybody else. Just go catch the ball, make good throws. Whatever you give us offensively
is a bonus.
It will be bonus. And a lot of people feel like that's really helped Bubba Starling to just kind of relax, just go out and play. Now, he didn't look good tonight, but not many people did against Shane Bieber.
Not too many hitters. It's an uncomfortable at bat facing him, but even if he's around the plate.
Frenchie Cordero coming on to try and give Kansas City an offensive jolt. Cordero, the tying run at the plate for Kansas City. Pulls that one foul. There is Bubba Starling, the young outfielder, getting an opportunity. Cordero checks. It's outside 2-2. Cordero, I tell you what, Kansas City, or rather San Diego, they like him big out there on the West Coast, because they had Franmil Reyes, who's 6'5", maybe 275 or so. Cordero goes 6'3", 230. The Royals just traded for him a couple of weeks ago with San Diego. Tim Hill, left-hander, went to the Padres. Down in the dirt. Boy, Cimber, he was, as I said, he was 7 out of 10 strikes, and now 10 strikes, 9 balls. So he's gone the complete opposite way in the last 2 hitters.
After he had to face the left-handers.
Runner goes, pitch hit hard, right at the second baseman, Hernandez, who throws him out to end the inning. It is now stretch time here at Progressive Field with the Indians in front of the Royals by a score of 2-0. And we'll pause now. Well, as we get ready to go to the bottom of the 7th inning, Cesar Hernandez will lead it off for the Tribe. And back in the 5th inning, great piece of hitting. Just slapped one inside of the bag at third, and that went for an RBI double.
See how deep he let that ball get into the zone, and that enabled him. He was able to keep it fair down the third baseline, drives in their second run on a double. So yeah, the leadoff man does a nice job of swinging the bat.
You know, Matt, Terry Francona said something about Hernandez that jumped out to me. He said, I don't think he had one of his best years last year. He said that was a down year when you look at his numbers. He goes, I think there's more to him, and that's why he wanted him at the top of the lineup, because he thinks he fits in perfect with the 3 guys that come after him. We've seen him be patient. We've seen him hit the ball the other way. He says he just complements what those other guys do perfectly. Don't look at his numbers from last year. Then I looked at the numbers, and they were pretty darn good.
Right, and Tito just believes it can improve, because when you've got those guys, Ramirez, Lindor, and Santana hitting behind you, they have to go at this guy. That's why I say his job is going to be get on base.
Hit it hard, but right at the first baseman. McBroom, 1 down.
Make sure Tommy Boe is on it up there, too. If he gets on twice a game, we need to know the record. Remember that.
Yes, I got
And he's been on got 1.
Tyler Zuber, the new pitcher for Kansas City. Last year, a couple of different stops in the minors. Obviously good numbers, and that's why they're getting a look at him. It's just, I mean, we could go on and on all night. And I think most fans who followed baseball closely understand it's not just the fact that we're starting the season on July 24th and it's only 60 games, but the ripple effect, you know, the fact that there is no minor league baseball. All of those developmental guys will now have missed a full year of trying to get better. Sure, a hand-selected few got to come to these camps and can stay working out, but man, for a lot of those guys, especially at the low levels,
it's a missed year.
Yeah, and that's, you know, they're going to be playing catch-up next year.
Yes, they will. And it's going to impact, I mean, no college baseball as well.
1-1 pitch, broken bat, bouncing ball, second base. Lopez came screaming in to make the play. 2 down. Defensively now for Kansas City, Whit Merrifield went from right to center, and Frenchie Cordero, who pinch hit for Starling, is now in right field. Well, Frankie Lindor steps in. He's 0 for 3 tonight. And he bats with the bases empty and 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Takes a pitch outside. You see Nick Whitgren getting loose. I asked Terry Francona before the game because, again, of the not being a normal clubhouse type setup. You've got guys coming in at different times, players in different rooms. But he said, singled out a couple of guys, including Francisco Lindor, as far as guys who have tried to emerge and become more vocal leaders and try to talk to the different players on how we're going to get through this and how we're going to deal with everything that's going on around us.
Well, and the guy who's on deck, Santana, he's also a voice in that clubhouse to be heard.
There's a foul. Tyler Zuber with the 1-2, and Lindor just threw the bat at it, but Franco up the ladder takes a hit away from Frankie. The Indians go in order, and we move to the 8-2 Cleveland. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. 8th inning. Indians with a 2-0 lead. Top of the order due for Kansas City. And the third pitcher of the night for Cleveland is Nick Whitgren. 55 trips out of the pen last year, 281 earned run average.
Yeah, he earned that role of setting up late in the ball game how he pitched last year, and that's what Tito's looking for this year for some of these new kids or the younger players to carve out a niche for themselves to earn better innings. Tyler Clippard was a guy that stepped up, but he went on and signed with the Minnesota Twins in the offseason. But Whitgren with a good slider, the changeup, which he throws a lot now, and the fastball.
High fly ball deep in the left center field. Back is Mercado, and that is out number 1. And we'll get a word right now from Spectrum Mobile.
Spectrum Mobile. Unlimited talk, text, and data. Just $45.
Adalberto Mondesi 0 for 3 tonight, has struck out twice. Tried to bunt, jabbed at it, came up empty. Four Mets pitchers combined on a 3-hit shutout of the Atlanta Braves, and the Mets beat Atlanta 1-0 earlier today. The two teams the Indians figure to battle with for supremacy in the AL Central are locked in a 5-5 tie halfway through in Chicago. White Sox Twins all even up.
Well, he didn't mess around, did he? He stayed fastballs on Mondesi and elevated it to get the strikeout. He has gone down 3 times tonight. Just stayed right there with the fastball. Didn't mess around. Elevates it, gets it above the belt and the hands, and gets outnumbered too.
from the Department of Things That Haven't Changed since we last were playing Major League Baseball. The Baltimore Orioles are getting pummeled by the Red Sox 10-1. They're in the 6th inning in Boston.
Well, I thought you were going to say they were playing the Yankees and Torres hit a home run off them.
Yeah, think about Baltimore having to play. I know it's only 60 games, but in a division
10
heavy
schedule. Well, and then you mix in the Mets with their pitching staff.
So they're saying I didn't get hit. He doesn't want to take his base.
He wants to hit, but
that was really weird. Soler was wagging his finger saying, no, that didn't hit me. And I didn't see it hit anything.
Well, they could challenge that.
But Terry Francona's probably like, you know what? Even though the tying run comes to the plate, we'll let Soler go ahead. They walked him in the 1st inning, and he is hit by a phantom pitch here in the 8th.
I don't think he's going to have to ice that after the game.
And as we've seen in the past, that might be the hardest call to get overturned.
Right. Yeah. You try to appeal it because it is really difficult to see unless you see a piece of the uniform move.
Back our way, out of play. Another foul right back. But Perez is in the hole 0-2. Almost chased after it, but he was able to hold up. The ball and 2 strikes for Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez, 6 times an All-Star, twice a Silver Slugger winner. Got him. What an inning for Nick Whitgren. Strikes out a pair of Royals. And we'll go to the last half of the 8th with the Indians still on top, 2-0. Stay tuned after the ball game tonight for Indians Live, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. The Indians with a 2-0 lead. Both runs coming in the 5th inning. Shane Bieber with an absolutely prolific performance here tonight with 14 strikeouts and 6 shutout innings of work. Adam Simber, Nick Whitgren following with a scoreless frame each. And now Tyler Zuber, who pitched a 1-2-3 7th, staying on to work the 8th. Carlos Santana 0 for 3 on the night. In front of the plate. Fastball up and slightly in. Closer Brad Hand is getting loose.
Change up down and away. Followed that pitch up and in and had Santana out on the front foot.
First opening day roster for Tyler Zuber. And in his major league debut, he's looking very sharp. And he walked him.
Well, you know, he usually mixes in a walk a day.
Wouldn't be a ball game without a Carlos Santana walk.
Isn't that the truth?
To recap our storylines tonight. How sharp will the defense be? Well, they didn't have to do a lot of defense tonight because Shane Bieber was just so dominant for Roberto Perez. Right back to his gold glove form tonight, throwing out a base runner, and that ricochet play from the seat of his pants was dynamite.
Yeah, he did, and he blocked some balls in the dirt, did a nice job keeping everything in front of him as usual. So the defense, you're right, they didn't have a lot of plays. Just the pitcher and catcher were working very well.
Franmil Reyes 1 for 3 on the evening. Franmil Reyes grew up in the same hometown as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They're good friends. They've played, I think, winter ball together in the past. And one of the, as if this year in sports couldn't get any stranger, one of the other bizarre twists was the fact that as of a few days ago, we're getting ready to start the year, and Vladdy Guerrero and the Blue Jays had no place to play their home games.
That is true.
They finally got a deal where they're going to play in Buffalo. Right field, near the line, dropping. Cordero can't get there, and it's foul anyway. They have to do a lot of renovations in a very short period of time to expand the clubhouse for enough, so everybody has enough room to spread out and do what they need to do. But that's where they're going to play.
They're on the road for a while.
Yeah,
first,
I think 6 games on the road.
Correct.
The other problem, Matt, Rick, that they'll have is the lights aren't set up for a big league game and big league TV. So they're trying to figure out a way to put lights up as well for the TV people, for people like us to be able to see.
I'll make it like old Wrigley. Just play all day games.
There you go.
Well, there's a thought.
You don't have to worry about fans.
Seriously, why not?
You could certainly do that.
Although TV would have a lot to say about that, I'm sure. Especially Blue Jays. They're the team of Canada.
Archie boys have a team they can go watch in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Well, they can't go on it.
Well, they'll find a way to get in, don't you?
They'll be on the grounds crew.
Pat, Stevie, and Frankie, they'll all be there.
There's my boys.
Franmil Reyes awaiting the 2-2 pitch. And Zuber hung a breaking ball and got away with it. He was lucky that was in enough. You hang that over the plate, and Reyes can't hit him a long way. Up the gut, but look how perfectly placed Nicky Lopez was. Turns that into a double play.
That ball was hit sharply, but right into the strength of the defense. He's playing right behind second base, right behind the pitcher. And you can see that's just a one hop smash, step on the bag, throw the first for the double play.
I wonder if Zuber could feel that whiz past his lower back.
I bet he heard it.
That ball had teeth on it. Well, Jordan Luplow bats, 2 down, bases empty, and Brad Hand heating up in earnest now. He knows his time is very near. Luplow checked his swing, and that's going to stay fair. We'll go to the 9th. The Indians need 3 outs to secure win number 1. Well, we're going to the 9th inning, and the Indians lead it 2-0. Shane Bieber, well, what can you say about the job he did in his first outing of the year?
It was just brilliant, no question about it. 4 hits in the 6 innings, but 14 strikeouts. The 1 walk, he had it all working. 3 times in this game he struck out the side. In the, what was it, the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th. But just dominating. There was a great changeup to cap off his night, a pitch he's been working on, but the slider was good. The curveball was there. He's spotting the fastball. And now it's all up to Brad Hand, and this is going to be the key for that bullpen this year. Last year you could see the 60 games. He did walk 18, had 84 punch outs, but 34 saves out of 39 opportunities, but the second half of the year struggled.
I think there has been speculation that maybe the time, the rest could be beneficial for a guy like Brad Hand. We talked about players who would not have been ready at the start of the season that benefited so that they're ready to go now. In Brad Hand's case, he was going to be ready to go, but the toll last year took on him. You wonder, will he be able to bounce back and be as strong now as he was in the first half of last year when he was an all-star?
Well, you'll keep an eye on the velocity, and you'll see how that slider goes. I mean, that was his pitch where he had it on a string, and he could throw it at any time for strikes.
The dip in velocity would be alarming, but pitchers historically have been able to get by with less velocity if they can command the baseball, and so that's, I guess, what you'll be looking for.
Right,
more than anything.
right. If it's down, then you're going to have to keep it in your spots, but he's going to have that one pitch, which was a slider last year, that was a very good one. And there it was. You try to elevate, and right now the tops is 90 miles an hour. Look at Gordon. He wanted that one back. He had a pitch he felt he could have hit. But as always with that closer, that leadoff hitter makes a world of difference if you can get him out.
Two years ago, in other words, the 2018 season, when he threw his four-seam fastball, the average velocity was 94 miles an hour. Last year, just 1 year later, his average four-seam velocity was down to 92.9, so almost a mile an hour off the fastball. And this is only the first time out.
That tipped him. I heard it.
Topping out at 90. That's the third time we've had an Indians pitcher nick a Royals batter.
Well, it was Merrifield, Soler, and now Gordon. You can hear it. Well, there you go. Now that brings a tying run to the plate. He wanted to make him work, but boy, that just barely nicked him. I mean, it grazed him. But you could hear it.
Now Ryan McBroom, 0 for 3 on the night. pays off, 1-1. Infield double play depth.
Well, now he's seen some sliders, but hadn't been able to throw them for strikes. Just the one in the zone.
Michael Franco waiting on deck. He's 0 for 3. Good rip at a fastball and fouled it back.
Came with the heater. Oh boy, had a good one to hit.
And is trying to get McBroom to hit one on the ground here, let his infielders go to work. Popped up, shallow center. Hernandez ranging far out, but Mercado gallops in for out number 1. There's a look at the strikeouts tonight from Shane Bieber. 1 on a slider, a lot of curveballs. Most of the fastballs he had him looking.
Yeah, but you look at the picture right there and you can see everything down in the zone. Got a couple of them upstairs and elevated, but most of them are going down and out of the strike zone.
Swing and a miss. I think a couple of those pitches that you indicated were up in the strike zone that looked very hittable. The reason those pitches were strikeout pitches is because he had those guys so baffled looking for the curveball. He just pumped a couple of fastballs by him.
Yes. How many called strikeouts did you have on your card?
I had 1, 2, 3,
6. I think he had 6 out of the 14.
5, 6.
Yeah. Well, we saw that a lot last year with Bieber, where a lot of hitters just couldn't pull the trigger. I don't know if they're guessing with him or what, but that heater goes by him.
Held on by Roberto Perez, and good night, Miguel Franco. That is out number 2. I don't know how in the heck he held on to this. Watch this foul tip right into the mitt. And you say sometimes you just hope it sticks in there as a catcher.
Yeah, you get lucky.
Right in the webbing.
That's why it sticks. If it goes and hits you in the glove or the padding, it usually it bounces out. He had it in the webbing and it happened to stay right there, so that's a big second out.
Boys, the one number that jumps out with me for Bieber, 4 strikeouts on 3 pitches each.
Yeah.
Like just going at guys, not even giving them a chance to breathe.
Well, that's how you can have 14 strikeouts and still stay under 100 pitches. He's that aggressive.
We've got a pinch hitter, Eric Mejia, batting for Nicky Lopez with 2 down in the 9th, and the Indians up 2-0. And Mejia taking a called strike. Right back. 0-2. Brad Hand and the Tribe 1 strike away. Just missed outside with a slow breaking ball. Off the end of the bat, foul up the first base line. So Mejia stays alive. Last year, the numbers 7 through 9 spots in the batting order for Kansas City hit a collective 215. And scored 111 runs fewer collectively than the Twins, bottom third of their order. 1-2 pitch, swung out and missed. Hey, struck him out. Brad Hand has his first save, and the Indians have their first win as they shut out the Kansas City Royals by a score of 2-0. It may have been 120 days late in getting started and 300 days since the Indians last played a game that counted. But this one, I would have to imagine for most fans, was worth the wait. Satisfying that we finally got a game of baseball that we could count, that we could watch, that we could enjoy, and escape at least for a little while from the realities of life. And in just under 3 hours, the Indians have a victory.
Yeah, we were treated by an outstanding pitching performance by Shane Bieber, coming out of the chute like he is in mid-season form.
Yeah, really impressive. Bieber, who won 15 games a year ago, gets his first. As I mentioned, Brad Hand taking the victory. Danny Duffy, tough luck loser. He pitched well early, only went 4 innings, 4 1/3, but charged with 2 runs on 3 hits. So the Indians win it tonight, 2-0. Back tomorrow. It's a 5 o'clock first pitch time as the Indians and Royals continue this season opening weekend series. So that's going to wrap things up for myself, Rick Manning, Andre Knott. Stay tuned. Indians Live with Alan Jensen, presented by Conrad's, is next.